My cabbages! Low, low, man. Ah, my cabbages!
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the ceiling. The truth it is all day, and now you are more than you're coping so hard. Coping your ceiling.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire. This is a legal mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. And oh boy, we are at maximum cope today, because today I can say without a doubt, this is the first time I can come to you with confidence and say, we have mandatory prison time on the board, boys and girls. And it's great. It's great to be right. It's great to be confirmed. It's great to see my theories that I said even back in November coming to fruition here at the end of March. It's absolutely great. So we're going to get into that today. We have an absolutely new charge, which has been merged in. I'm going to give you all the details. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what the charge is, how it's going to be prosecuted, and how this absolutely screws over Ramzi Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, which does explain why a little bit, perhaps, why he's been having complete mental breakdowns recently, because perhaps he realizes the cabbage fields are nigh. So we're gonna get to it today. It's gonna be a very good one. I do appreciate everybody here. I know we have 3,300 of you here. Please smash the like button. So hopefully we have even more that come and join us here. I think I just put the notice out on X, so there we go. Let me get the memberships first. GamerCron09 for 5. Thank you so much. Crimson Splat for 10. Thank you. Big Buddhist as a new member. Thank you. And then Phoenix hitting us with 50 legal mindset membership. Thank you so much for that, Phoenix, with some a big 5-0. Sitsatar Luchai with 5. Thank you so much, Kopkun Cup. And I also want to get these quick member thing chats here. Unnamed Firestorm said, ready for the cabbage fields. Big Buddhist says, I evolved my membership. I'm now a baked Buddhist, like I wasn't already. Oh, you are. And Hyperion Alabaster, thank you. Thank you for all those memberships. We already literally, with just those memberships, I think we're skyrocketed over 100 right now. Yeah, are we hitting over 100? I think we're already over 100, and I just start the stream. Also, real quick, there were some people that donated when I first set the stream long before. King Lugia gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Also, Robka and Baylor Shield became members. Damos in a member chat says, shout out from Sydney. Oi! Johnny Somali appears to believe your only focus is on him and none of the other tools. Lawyer plus court case equals reason. Of course I'm focusing on Johnny right now because he keeps giving me content. And today I actually wasn't planning on doing a stream on Johnny. I was planning on either A, taking a break, or B, doing a stream on something else. I've been waiting for some big news on Twitch to drop. Actually, Dan Clancy made a video today that kind of alludes at it. But I can't talk about it yet because it's confidential and I was sworn to confidentiality. So I was actually not going to stream on Ramzi today. I know it's crazy, right? But I cover many other topics. I've covered, many other topics on the internet. And I thought, okay, we've covered enough Ramzi. He's running around in his underwear. But then this bombshell dropped, and I'm like, I've got to stream on this today because this is a game changer. This is an absolute game changer. I'm not hyping this up more than it is. It changes the dynamic of the entire case that we have going on, and also it completely changes the timeline. What this means is we may actually see Ramsey behind bars quicker than before, which we're going to talk about that today. I've got some speculation on why that might or might not be. We'll get into that today, but we may actually get Ramsey behind bars quicker than we would have otherwise. I do think we were always going to get some jail time, but I think we may get it quicker sooner than later, which is awesome, which is amazing, which is exactly why he's been breaking down and melting down, because I think he realizes, oh shit, I'm screwed. And so he's just acting wild, doing whatever, because he realizes the cabbage boy is done. And that's why his fanboys are trying hard to glaze him, because they know that he's going behind bars. So that it really explains everything, why people are trying to, why he's crying. I think now he's trying to appeal to the embassy, which, by the way, I should pull that up right now. Of the U.S. to South Korea. So, I think at some point he said he was going to try to appeal to the embassy. Of course, that's not going to work. But just like he can write to the embassy, everybody here can also write to the U.S. consulate in South Korea and also say, hey, this is why we absolutely do not want you helping this guy at all whatsoever. That's absolutely not a problem at all. Hold on, I'll see if I can get this one. Let's see, U.S. Embassy, South Korea. Let's go with Seoul. That'll be better. I think that'll give me a better result here. There we go. The AI has a good answer here. So just like Ramsey can, anybody, Ramsey's fanboys can reach out. You guys can reach out too to the U.S. Embassy in Seoul, South Korea, located at 188 Sojongdae-do, Jongno-gu, Seoul, Republic of Korea. You can contact them by phone at +82 02 397 4114 for general inquiries. So you can, contact them, hit them up. They've got an email, soulinfoacs@state.gov, right? So you guys can hit them up and say, yeah, we don't want you giving any assistance to Johnny Somali. I don't think they will, but you guys can do that as well. Once again, I really do not think they will. But he has been maximum cope right now because he knows he's cooked. He knows he is now, a lot of other channels have done this. Johnny Somali is cooked. I think I saw Nux putting Johnny Somali is 500% cooked. He's now 1,000% cooked. This is the end of the line for Cabbage Boy. Mazurva Palma for 50 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yes. JP Ravenfire for 10. Thank you so much. Foxfire Loxley. Thank you. Warranty Void for 20. Thank you so much. Green Tone IO. Thank you so much. Kopkun Cup. Thank you. Gamsamnida. Also, doing a Thai Korean mix here. Thank you so much for the 50. For the 50, I'll hit you guys with an emotional damage. A little bit of a volume warning on the emotional damage, though.
Emotional damage.
King Lucia, thanks for another 5. And then Dark Nile, thank you for joining as well. Junebug say Legal Mindset making cabbage off of Johnny. Oh, we're making a big amount of cabbage. All right. And also shout out to my locals people. Appreciate you, Vegihan, Corpus, Danielle, JP. I see you guys over there. And shout out to my mods, JP Ravenfire and Danielle as well, keeping everybody behaving in main chat. Aris Athena for 10 says, today is my birthday. Thank you, Ramsey, for the present. Love your coverage. Hey, love that for you. Have a wonderful birthday. Have a blessed birthday. Hope you're doing well. Also, on some positive news, I think I've been doing some research on a charity we can try to support in South Korea. And because of the fires, I think I found one that we can support. So I'm going to have more information on that. We'll probably do that later this week or early next week. So we should have some positive stuff, which I always like on the channel, to sprinkle in positive, out there. Vortex Cross for 10 says, suffer, Johnny, suffer. Indeed. Emotional damage, says Umbra Zima from South Africa. Hey, cheers. I was just spending time with somebody who had a lovely time in Cape Town. They were showing me some photos. It looked lovely. Phoenix DS for 10 Canadian says, Legal Mindset has to be on South Korean time. He may just squeak in or be fashionably late. No, I was on time. I was on time. Thank you for the cabbages and the 100 Norwegian krona warranty void. Phoenix DS for 10 says they need to remake the Somali SCP and add RKI to the Euclid class, a highly annoying golden goblin cabbage farmer. Oh, that would be funny. That'd be funny. Stephen Miller says, hi ho, it's off to the cabbage farms. He goes. Could not agree more. All right. So before we get into the main stuff tonight, there is other stuff that happened that's kind of comical involving Johnny. First, and this is just crazy, there are some good memes. So I will share with you some good memes about Johnny here real quick. First of all, whoever made this Ghibli, because I know the Ghibli's are trending on X right now. Whoever made this Ghibli of Johnny, I like it. I mean, he's not Jewish, but I get why you put that there. But this is absolutely hilarious. Like of him just seething in a Korean cabbage farm. Like this is actually really freaking good. Whoever did this, you deserve a medal. You're a hero. This is an amazing artwork. And this is very accurate. This is very accurate to Ramsey's future. Okay. But what else happened today? Well, of course, he was out live streaming. And look, I'm not going to spend too much time on what Ramsey was doing today, just because it really was largely insignificant. I did have people watching it. I always have people watching it. I do know that he spent like over 2 hours straight just coming at me and talking shit about me. But, I don't really care what he has to say about me because I'm going to let the court speak for itself when it sends him to prison. Right. So that's really going to speak for itself for Ramsey. And I know that, first of all, that I'm first and foremost in his mind because, of course, he knows this information is going to come through me. He knows it's going to get out through me. And his, ultimate failure in the Korean courts is going to be exposed, which is why he targets me so insanely and defames me in any possible way he can, which, is hilarious from him because you can't trust a word out of his mouth. But beyond that, he was out today and he did do something illegal. Now, this is not the charge that we're going to deal with, but he was out and he was with some protesters. Now, fun fact, and I know this is, once again, you may not know this, but it is illegal for foreigners to participate in political protests. So this is actually illegal. Now, I don't think he will be charged for it because despite all these people whining and crying about free speech, it's one of the things that's more rarely prosecuted. But once again, Ramsey is out here, doing things he shouldn't be doing in Korea. So that was one thing that happened today, another got him moment because, that's actually not okay. And also remember, it's kind of funny. He's like holding this CCP out, but yet literally every day he's glazing the CCP. He's sucking up to the CCP in Hank's apartment because Hank is a CCP fanboy. He has a PLA flag. He has a PLA armed patch, People's Liberation Army. And he's planning to flee to China. That's Hank's plan because he can't have a life in Korea. So he's going to flee to China. So, it's very funny. Like I said, he will do whatever and say whatever for clout and attention. And that always proves true with Ramsey. Very true, actually, with Ramsey. But beyond that, something even more, noteworthy, I guess, happened today. So he was out streaming and, this happened. And let's play the video here. Let's play the video. Yeah. One more time for the audience. Yeah. He got absolutely pimp-handed there, as you might say. Treated like a emotional cabbage out there as he was streaming in Seoul, South Korea. Perhaps that grandfather that he pushed or that church that he desecrated, or those construction workers he bothered, or the ajimas that were working in the convenience store, the pyeoncham, One of their cousins, one of their brothers, somebody who knew them was like, I don't appreciate you messing with my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, my aunt. 100% they're alive, got that on the streets. And that very much mirrors how he got destroyed in court today. So that is actually the second time. That's not Dalgun. This is not Dalgun. This is the second time he is clearly on camera, gotten handled. So let me get some of these super chats. I'm going to go once again. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go from largest to smallest. That's just the way I do it. I will get to everyone by the end. Uncle Brat for 20 says, send the cabbage seeds to Johnny. Oh, I absolutely will. Don't you worry about that. Kierna says, I'm old enough to have been stationed during the student protest. Arkai is playing with fire, participating as a foreigner in protests. It's best not to be involved. Don't do it. If you are not a citizen, I would not advise you in any country to participate in protests. That's not smart. If you're not a citizen, you don't have full rights. In fact, there was a case in the U.S. Actually, ironically, there's a South Korean student who participated in a political protest in the U.S. And I think people are like a little bit up in arms about her because she's going to be sent back to Korea. But the funny thing is, Korea and U.S. kind of have the same rules, right? Like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this as a non-citizen. Right? If you're a citizen, you have full rights. But if you're a non-citizen, you do have to be on your best behavior and understand you don't have full rights yet. Right? Since our Lucha said emotional cabbage time. Hold on, I'll play the emotional damage. We got to get some emotional damage in here.
Emotional damage.
Thank you for that. Uncle Brat says, cheers for cabbages. Thank you. Phoenix Diaz says, RK is the golden goblin that keeps on giving the gifts to those that just want a break, but he pulls us back in. I wanted a break. I legitimately wanted to take today off, spend time with my friends in Thailand, chill, not have the internet, just relax. And Johnny just wouldn't let me. He will not let me. He will not let me have a break. El Eagle, disciple of Wah, says, I'm genuinely confused. What the is going on in this Dard's brain? We keep seeing him self-destruct. Then again, he slurps his own shite from the floor. I do think so. At this point, I do believe he sees the walls closing in. I think Johnny Somali right now sees the walls closing in. And with today's charges that we're going to talk about right now, I'm going to get through 2 more chats and then we're going to go. I think this is why he's having a breakdown right now. And I think you're going to see exactly why he knows he is legally fucked. Remember, and this is the important thing to remember, Korea, especially these Korean prosecutors, have a 98% conviction rate. So, yes, the charge I'm going to talk about today, he has not pled to yet. He has pled guilty to 3 other charges. He has, but he has not pled guilty to this. He can fight it. He does have a 2% chance of winning, a 2% chance. But if you think Johnny Somali, once again, I'm not putting my money on Johnny Somali, who has openly disrespected the court, who has clearly and flagrantly violated the rules, who doesn't seem to care about anything, who's unapologetic, who said F you to the judge, F you to law enforcement, F you to cops. If you think Johnny Somali is going to be the sympathetic case that gets the 2% W, I mean, I don't know what to say to you. Those are not odds that a betting man should be taking. Cat Game for 100,000 Indonesian rupiah says, hello, can I ask, will Johnny get 6 or 7 charges because he is naked in public and stalking people and yelling after what he's done if he's still out there? Right now, we have 5 charges before the court. 5. We can have more, but I only bring them to you and talk about this. And I see you said it here too. I got you on here. I think you said it twice. I tell you things when they're in court. So let's go to that real quick. I want you guys to see this like visually because I think this will help you. Of course, I have a PowerPoint. Of course, because I'm Andrew. This is what I do, right? So let's help you guys with the PowerPoint. So I have been focusing on things that are in step 4. So step 1 is when somebody goes to the police. They file a criminal complaint. When you file something with the police can decide to take it seriously or they can decide to ignore it. However, if they take it seriously, they go to step 2. They investigate it. Then that process takes 2 to 4 months. After they investigate it, they send it to the prosecutor. That typically takes 2 to 4 months. And then after that process, which takes between 4 and 8 months typically, it goes to trial. And so a lot of the stuff I've been focusing on is at step 4, because at step 4, we have access to everything that goes before the court. We have access to all of his case files. And this is a interesting thing. Johnny probably is learning about this from me. He probably learned about this from my tweet today, right? Which is absolutely great. And I can only imagine how mentally broken he was when he realized he's screwed and he's done. And all of his statements about spending no time in jail or whatever, those are quickly circling the drain. So he's at step 4 for before today, 4 charges. Now it's 5. We have 5 that are clearly there. So without further ado, and let me make sure I've gotten everything here. Let me get one more comment here. Steve McKinney says, since he self-snitches by filming everything, he's a great example of res ipsa loquitur. Yes, he absolutely is. He absolutely is. Also, Geodax for 10 says, have to leave for stuffs, but enjoy. Wonder what will happen if a special internet special decides to make a high effort music video using his streams and videos mocking him. Would help pass the time. I would love to see that. I would love to see a super cut that is mocking Johnny. That would be absolutely hilarious. It would be hilarious. Okay, so let's get to what the charge is. So some of you have guessed this, but it is related to the deep fakes. Yeah, that's right. The deep fakes, baby. We got 10,000 people here live. And unlike Johnny, who actively uses a view botter, which, by the way, if you don't know what a view botter is a mechanism by which you can amp up your views, right? It's very cute because you can kind of tell a view botter. There's certain delays and sounds you can hear while they're playing, and you know they're view botting. But these are organic. We have almost 11,000 people here organically. That's crazy. So guys, smash a like button for this if you like this content. So this is about the deepfakes. So this is the charging paper that was filed in February, right? So this was what he flashed and let us know, hey, I have a deep fake that's been sent to the prosecutor in February. Well, if you look at the timeline, it typically takes about 2 months of investigation for it to go from the prosecutor's office to court. So that is something that it's like, okay, well, it's going to take 2 months to get from the prosecutor's office to court. Well, it's a little under 2 months, right? It's a little under 2 months. It has now come before the court. So we now have, and this is it in Korean on the top and in English on the bottom. We now have a confirmation. This is the top is the original Korean and the bottom is there. For those that don't know Korean, right? Ram is the beginning of his name, Ramsey, right? So they anonymize it in his case file. This is literally from his court file. This is from his case file. So you can see that this is, once again, unlike Ramsey, I actually know how to use Google Translate, and I, can use it functionally. Actually, for this one, I use Papago. Papago is superior. If you want to translate Korean, you should really use Papago. It's a superior app. Not an endorsement, but but anyways, they censor the name. But you can see here, it's got the name in a charge. And you can see here on the bottom, violation of the special act on the punishment of sexual violence crimes. So this falls under a sex crime. So it will no longer, after Ramsey is guilty of this, whether he is proved guilty by the court or whether he pleads guilty, you can safely say, without it being defamatory at all in any country, that he is a sex criminal, because this falls under the variant of their laws that regulates sex crimes. So, and I want to be very clear, this deep fake is sexual because in Korean culture, like French kissing, and this is actually some notes I have on this, I typed it on. Some of them are French kissing or making out, as you might say, as the kids might say. So French kissing is considered sexual in Korean law. People who French kiss are likely having sex as well, right? Regardless of the content, distributing AI content without consent is illegal. But under Korean law, if you're French kissing, that's sexual. Streaming it for profit carries a prison sentence. Johnny can bitch about this all he wants, but it is absolutely lock. There's no changing that. So let's look at the Korean law, and this is a translation of the Korean law. This is from Case Note. So we're going to look at the one that's applicable to Johnny here. So this is the exact act, the special act on the punishment of sexual crimes, right? This was a 2020 law. So obviously this happened after 2020. So distribution of false images. So that's deep fakes. So that we're talking about deep fakes here, right? So there are 3 sections. Each section is different, okay? So a person who edits, synthesizes, or processes a photo, video, or audio recording of a person's face, body, or voice against the will of the subject of the video in any form that may cause sexual desire or shame. So it's sexual desire or shame. For the purpose of distribution, shall be punished or imprisoned for more than 5 years and a fine not exceeding 500 million won. So this is just for making, editing, or synthesizing a sexual deepfake or a shameful deepfake. And by the way, let me be clear. He has been creating a ton of deepfakes. And I think today he was actually, he said on his stream something about police being in his Discord. So they were talking about police being in his Discord, right? Because, you know, there's an open Discord and there likely are police that have archived all the deepfakes he's made, including deepfakes he's made about Korean streamers. He's made deepfakes of me. He's made all sorts of deepfakes, you know, all sorts of deepfakes that are sexual in nature. And once again, that comes back on him because he's been pushing that out there, marketing that, talking about that. Right. So all of that comes back on him. But the thing is, that's not where that statute stops. And the problem for Johnny is he goes even further. So a person who distributes, this is the key, distributes an edited work, composite work, or copy pursuant to paragraph 1, or a person who distributes a copy against the will of the subject, so without their permission, non-consensually, right, shall be subject to a punishment of not more than 5 years or a fine exceeding 50 million won. But that's not where he's screwed. Where he's screwed is he's hit under section 3. A person who commits the crime, so deepfake, by using an information and communication network. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Somali is receiving an aggravated sentence because he streamed it. Let me say that one more time. Johnny Somali is getting an aggravated sentence because he streamed it and because he put it on Discord, because he had to do it for the content, right? For the content. Self-own 100%. And look at how this statute is worded, ladies and gentlemen. Let's focus on this. Shall be punished by imprisonment of not more than 7 years. There is no option in this statute for a fine. Do you see how in this one it says 5 years and 50 million won? There's no fine. The only option is prison. The judge can only choose. The judge doesn't even have discretion. The judge can only send him to prison for this crime. He's fucked. And that's a legal conclusion. By the way, there's a fourth one. In case of habitually committing the crime, because he's done it multiple times, the penalty shall be increased by half. So he could get, what is this, 7 years? So what is that, 14 years? He could actually get 14 years just off of this, 13, 14 years just off of this. Now, Korean judges typically don't give you the max sentence, right? So all of you clickbait channels, 14 is the max, but I'm not saying he's going to get 14. Right? So don't you write that. Don't you write that. Actually, wait, sorry. Is my math bad there? So wait, half of 7 is 3. Sorry, so that's actually 10. Sorry, lawyer math. All right, 10 years. I'm not saying he's going to get 10 years, but 10 years is there. Yeah, 10.5. There you go. Thank you, 10.5. Lawyer math. Okay, so let's fix the lawyer math. Sorry, guys. I'm a lawyer. I'm not a math person. I'm not a math. Legal math set. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Streamer math. Yeah, I know. Johnny tires out my mind. So let's go with 10 years, 10.5. Okay. So, but let's say conservatively it's 7. Let's say conservatively it's 7, because I don't know whether they're going to bring this one or not, but they're definitely bringing this one because he distributed it online against the will of the subject. He's done. This is mandatory prison. Now, let me explain two things about this, right? Number one, Johnny could obviously fight it, and he would have to prove it not guilty. There's a 98% conviction rate. So good luck on that. Although I hope he tries to fight it, because the trial would be hilarious. And by the way, it'll be long. And by the way, his sentence doesn't start till it's all the way over. So I do hope he indeed does try to fight this and tries to claim he's some sort of OJ of South Korea. Because I sincerely hope he tries. That'll be very hilarious. And there is obviously the option of the judge being super lenient. If this was his first and only crime, the judge might give him what's called a suspended sentence. If you guys know what a suspended sentence is, that's sort of like probation. However, here's the problem for Johnny, and here's where he's screwed. And here's how his own lawyer may have screwed him. He's already pled guilty. So he is already guilty of 3 crimes. So when they go to sentence him for this, which is the last of them, he's going to be a convicted criminal. So when they look at this, they're going to say, well, you're a convicted criminal. You're convicted of all these things. Why would I give you probation? This is not your only charge. So I think the chances of them giving him any sort of probation are very low, extremely low. But that said, once again, the sentence has to involve some sort of prison. It is crazy. I know. Mobius dropping 5 legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Big Buddha says he's effed. Best legal conclusion ever. I know. RKI deep effed by deep fakes. I know. That's exactly the way it is. It's exactly the way it is. Okay. I will get all the rest. I see there's a lot of other questions. I'm going to get everything here as well. Okay. So that's the law itself. So let me do a little bit of the presentation here I got. Okay, here we go. So here's some other important factors on this, and this is very key. So we're looking at up to 7 years in prison. Could be 10.5, but let's go conservative. Once again, I'm conservative on my channel. Other channels, the clickbait channels, are going to say this is 10.5. I'm going to say 7. Let's call it 7, right? Up to 7. Let's be conservative. The biggest thing about this is that, and this is what is insane, guys. Listen to me. Like, I talked to my Korean friends today that they kind of know the law. This is unprecedented for a foreigner. You don't have multiple charges merged in. This charge was supposed to be in the Eastern District. They were supposed to have an entirely different trial, but they decided to move it here. And like I say in this, let me read this thing here. Now the Western District appears will handle all the charges. This is something that required a committee to approve it. A committee. So a committee of people had to come together and say, we want to merge this because we're trying to get this guy, handled, right? So literally, something that rarely happens had to get people together to agree to this. And when we look at his actions over the past week, are you surprised that they've done this? Are you surprised that they've escalated this, that they brought this charge? Not at all. Not at all. Look at what he's been doing. Look at what he's been doing over the last week. I think he's decided to F around, and now he's finding out. Because he decided to say, oh, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They're going to do this. They're going to hit you with something with mandatory jail time. And, he's going to be behind bars for that. And by the way, they can still bring other charges. There can still be another case that comes to another district, but they've decided the deep fake, they're now going to put that on this one. I had thought that was going to be a separate trial. Another thing that's going to be interesting too. So Johnny claims to have a paid lawyer for the deepfake case, right? In the Eastern District. He claims to have one. Let's pretend he does. If he does, then he's got to decide who handles what when, right? And his one lawyer's already had him pleading guilty. So you can't take that back. You can't withdraw those guilty pleas. So now if he decides to fight one charge, that's going to be really weird. And you're going to have these lawyers, like if they're in the same courtroom fighting over the same thing, it's going to be very awkward and kind of, once again, unprecedented. right? If that's true. But let's pretend it is. Nick X, 1999. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Mazrova Palma said, didn't you say merging the charges would be a sign of a paid defense attorney? Yeah, and but I think the thing is it's true, but I think this was done by the court. So this is something that the court decided to do. So this was an action of the court themselves. So it's true that they would have done that. They would have tried to do that earlier than this, but yeah, it's very interesting. It is extremely interesting. Gary Lee says you're making more money off him than he is. Well, that's why he's mad. Johnny Somali gets very mad that 12,000 real people are watching and not bots. He had to use all sorts of technology last night to get to like, a couple thousand people, when you can look at his chat and see that nobody's actually watching. It's a bunch of his fanboys, the people that want to, pat him on the back and want to get him in more trouble. And then people that are logging him, right? Because there's a lot of people that are watching him just to log him and log what he does and send it to the police, which is why perhaps the police are in his Discord right now, which is great. Phoenix Diaz says for 10, RKI fast tracking the prison run. I thought the cannonball run was insane, but I guess RKI said, hold my beer. Rayombi said, wait. Johnny's win rate is 1% to 2%. I bet you Niji's revenue, 99% cut, and 7% lawyers fresh out of law school would have a better chance of winning. Mind you, that RKI and Niji fumble a lot. Very true. Very true. Will there be more trials? Yes. So here's what's going to happen next. April 9th, he's going to be hit with this. Now, he's going to hear about this from my stream. He watches everything I do. He literally, like, when I'm napping, he probably, is thinking about me. This guy, Ramsey, obsesses about me 24/7. I live rent-free in his head, right? So he's definitely found out. They definitely said I'm live. They're spamming in his Discord. They're flipping out. Ramsey's followers are the 3 dislikes I get on every video. It's like him, Hank, and his one simp. So, they know about this stuff. He'll know about it. But April 9th, his lawyers will figure out about it. They'll be in court, and they'll have to decide whether to plead guilty or not, right? That's ultimately what they have to decide. And that is a big decision, because if they decide to fight it, we're in for a very long process, right? A very long process. All right. Lisa, a $20 super sticker. Thank you so much. Anthony said to RKI Coping and Seething Fund, more charges are good to see. Thank you so much. Do we hit the goal? Oh, we did hit the goal. Thank you for the prison cope level. You guys hit 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate all the donations, guys. Thank you for your coverage. It's been great. And also it's kind of explained why. Hold on, I'll play a little Coping and Seething here. Actually, no, we'll play a hell no.
Hell no. Oh, hell no.
With Hank's love rag there, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught the little hanky poo in the corner there in the jail cell. There's going to be no visits between Hank and Johnny while they're in jail. It's going to be very sad. They better spend some quality time together before he's behind bars. They should throw the book at RKI, no minimum sentence. Let him get an eye-opening reality show about Johnny and the cabbage fields as his daily routine. That'll be funny. I'd love to see it. So this does explain a lot why Johnny has been melting down. I think he may not know exactly when this was happening, but he may have known that this is coming down the pike and it's not going anywhere. And because he has this impending sense of doom, it's like when you have a scared animal backed into a corner, they just lash out and do a bunch of crazy stuff and say a bunch of crazy stuff. That's where he's at right now. He's like a scared little bird, right? That really can't hurt anybody or do anything, but he's just going absolutely crazy. And his followers, his 5 followers are flipping out. They're trying to do everything they can do to cover him, to paint him up, to brush him up. But the thing is, people haven't forgotten the racism, the crimes, the attacks, the unapologetic stuff. I mean, to this day, he continues to threaten people. Right now, look, when he threatens people, like when he threatens me, I don't take it very seriously because I know he's completely impotent, but he does it on a daily basis, right? I mean, even, I'm aware that even today, I believe he made some death threats to me, right? But once again, I don't take him seriously. I don't think he has any capacity to do anything, right? But he's always somebody that will do what I call as cry bullying, right? So they try to attack other people and they try to harass other people, they try to attack other people, and then they cry they're a victim, right? So They aggressively go out there and do things and then cry, oh no, I'm the real victim. And that is possibly the biggest way to describe Ramzi Khalid Ismail, is that, right? He will use whatever shield he can use, whatever excuse he can use to try to weasel his way out of trouble. And he's been successful at that. And but for covering him closely and watching what he does, he would get away with that. Make no mistake. Without covering him closely and covering step by step what he does and exactly how he tries to turn things around, to reframe them, he would get away with this. But in this case, he messed around, and a lot of people, not just myself, right? I'm the face here, but behind me are dozens of people from Korea, from around the world, that have helped me with this case and helped me to get this guy and put him where he belongs, which is in a jail cell, right? And it is very, I'm very thankful that I've had so many people helping me on this, because it's been a slog, right? And it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of nasty stuff, but it's worth it, because this guy is bringing a net negative to the world at large, and particularly to Korea and East Asia. Squid Games RKI edition. Play the game to win your freedom. Let's say you fail spectacularly. Yeah. I mean, once again, I'm going to play the GIF. You guys saw it before, but this happening today is pretty much a metaphor for RKI's life right now. Pretty much a metaphor for his life right now. It's just reality is hitting him in the face. And the reality is that people don't have such a short attention span this time to forget what he's done. Big Lord Gary, thank you as a member. Alfonso Oro says, Arcaz except with the long man. Yeah, I know. It's hilarious. Melody98, Mary Pigeon, for 14 Danish krona, says the judge is going to love Johnny long time. Says Thai coffee. I do love coffee in Thailand. Tailsy Boss, as a new member, welcome. Alfonso Oro with 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Alex Chiang for 10 says, I know Johnny Somali after watching the videos about messing around in Japan. As a Taiwanese who loves Japan, I really hope he can be sent to jail as soon as possible. I know. And hopefully it's longer. And what this does is it puts real time. Having a deep fake on here puts real time on the board. This is not a game. This is something serious. I think even he knew this was serious, because remember, Ramzi has been afraid of this. He's been saying, if they charge me with this, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to do everything. This is why he's going crazy. We now see why. It wasn't completely making sense, but now it seems why. He knew he's screwed. He knew he knows he's heading to prison. He knows all these brash bravado statements are going to be up in the air as he's hauled off in tears. Now, let me also talk about the details, because Coyote Trickster says, is this in the Eastern or Western? Okay. Let me explain this. The deep fake was going to be in the Eastern District, but they took it from the Eastern District and they merged it into the Western District. So now the Western District appears to be handling all active court issues. So once again, this was the deepfake case that was going to be in the Eastern District. He lives in the Eastern District. Ramzi is staying at Hank's apartment in the Eastern District, but they merged it in. Seoul has 5 different districts. They can all prosecute cases independently, but they've decided to merge it in. This is rare. Courts don't normally do this merging process, but they've now done it 4 times. They've done it with 2 Minor Crimes Act, 1 obstruction, and now a deep fake. 4 times. 4 different charges that have been added to this. This is nuts. This is crazy. Once again, it's showing that he was on a criminal spree across South Korea. Nick X says, join late. So what time is he looking at? He now faces conservatively up to 17 years in prison. Let me say that one more time. This is the accurate number. He faces up to 17 years in prison, 7 from the deep fake and 5 from each obstruction charge. 5 from 1, 5 from 2. So 5 plus 5 plus 7. It could be more if they decide to charge him as a habitual offender, but at this point it's 17. So absolutely looking great there. Chris VF for 10 says, if the merge came from the court, do you think it's an issue the court wants to bury him, or possible, let's get this over with as soon as possible, give him the boot? It could be both. I mean, once again, if they let me put it this way. If they said, hey, we want to move this fast because we want to put him in jail and then get him out of the country as soon as he serves his jail sentence. Because remember, guys, we're not going to see anything from Ramsey once he's behind bars. He's not going to have his social media. He's not going to have anything in jail. He's going to be just like hanging out, farming cabbage, So it could be that, and it can be a little bit of both, right? It can be a little bit of both. Sexual criminal plus prison plus no protection equals lipstick. Yeah. Now, some people have asked, some people said, will he be a sex offender in the US? That's interesting because I don't know the law regarding that and whether it covers the crime, because there are some crimes in the US that are parallel to this, but it's not one for one. So it'll be interesting how that works. But once again, after he pleads guilty, you will be able to say, hey, he's a sexual criminal, or whether he pleads guilty or proven guilty, whatever. You'll be able to say, hey, he's a sexual criminal, and that will be accurate, right? An international sexual criminal. Very facts, 100% facts. Kwang Lee for 10 says, judges in Korea do not normally give maximum. Yes, that's true, but this is a special case. They need to send a strong message to the nuisance streamer not to come to Korea and fuck around, because they're going to find out. A friend of mine spoke with a professor who's a retired judge, and they said, at first, they thought they were just going to fine him. But after seeing everything he's done, they're going to make an example out of him. That's what a professor said, who's a former judge. So let me say that one more time. This is a former Korean judge who has explained what happened and knows what's going on. They said they think they're going to make an example out of him. That's from a former Korean judge. Not from me, Legal Mindset. That's not from me, Legal Mindset. And actually, I can even read the text. Let me even read it. But that's the paraphrasing of it. Let's see here. Yes. Now he's saying they are likely trying to make an example of him. That's what they said. Yeah, cool. Was law professor? Okay, yeah. He's a law professor as well. Okay, cool. Good stuff. Let's see. 10.5 for deepfake. That's if he's convicted as a habitual creator of deepfakes, but right now it's 7. Jordy Banani says, just here to support Bro Legal Mindset. Thank you. I really appreciate the support, because frankly, it's been a kind of rough week. I mean, Johnny and his crew have been throwing a lot of defamation out there and doing crazy stuff. So it's going to get support from you guys, because of course I wondered why they're coping so hard and why this week is so crazy. And it makes complete sense now. Now I know it's the reason. It's because he knows he's done. And when you're in the final days, when you're backed in the corner, you start doing crazy stuff. Cobra Elite for 10 says, Ramsey Khalid Ismail's new career is going to be a prison sword swallower, if you know what I mean. Mozzie says, the cabbage feels hunger. Get to work. Green Tone says, what's the minimum sentence he will for sure receive at this point? What is the most likely sentence just from what works? There's no minimum. That the Korea doesn't work that way. It's what they suggest. So what I've told you probably still holds up. I imagine it'll be somewhere, my guess would be a couple, like 1 to 5, right? But who knows? He could get more. I don't know. At this point, I really don't know, because you can make a case for the maximum sentence, because the maximum sentence exists for a reason. And perhaps this is the right time to give the maximum sentence for someone who's completely irreverent. Muzzy Skeleton for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you. Flora Nova for 10. Random Squirrel said, I heard somewhere he could get 30 years. That's incorrect. Whoever said that is incorrect, and they're clickbaiting you. I do not clickbait you. I give you the exact information. Everything in the title is true. This charge has mandatory prison. 100%, right? Cody Trickster for 20 says, come one, come all. Hear the tale of Ismail, the great fool, and his lover, Hank the Useless, as told by great bard Squire Andrew Esquire. Gabby the Fox for 10 pounds. Hello from Wales. Hey, I've never been to Wales, but I do enjoy the UK. I work right now, so I missed the first 45 minutes. What's the 5th charge? A deep fake. For a deep fake that he distributed on the internet via Discord, via the internet, via streaming. We've got conclusive proof of that. He's pretty much dead to rights on it. So that's what he's facing. There is no option of a fine. He has to go to jail for that. Wise Man Gamer for 50 says, I hope that your channel continues to grow and reach new heights after Somali will be gone. What content do you plan to cover? There's a lot of content. I like to cover larger stories. People, I was covering the Destiny lawsuit a little bit before. I'm gonna have some news about Twitch coming out and some lawsuits there. I generally like large lawsuits, maybe like corporate level lawsuits, because I was an in-house corporate attorney. So I do like those. But anything involving large scale litigation, particularly stuff that affects Asia. If there's anything coming over here, Asian side, I will 100% cover it. So if you guys have good suggestions, let me know. I will also say this. Now, I don't plan to focus on nuisance streamers all the time, but nuisance streamers make it easy to cover them because they keep breaking the law. And people who keep breaking the law are just making my job easy to cover them. Bob for 10 says it's probably not a crime, but it'd be funny if there were more cops than fans in RKI's Discord in Western Eastern District and chat pointing at each other like Spider-Man. I think there are more people in that are spying on Ramsey than there are people that are loving Ramsey. Let me put it that way. Spider-Bro says Ramsey is going for an insanity plea. Thank you. Shout out to the BLM. Luxurion for 250 says watch a couple of videos and saw how hard he's coping and seething. Here's a bit of salt. Thanks for the good work. Yeah, he watches everything on my channel and is absolutely enraged by every donation, every super chat. He's going to be super mad that 12,000 people are here and super mad if you guys smash a like button. We only have 3,000 likes and 12,000 people. So let's get to 6,000. He will be real mad. QB says, assuming that RKI doesn't bury himself with enough charges to the point where he leaves the cabbage farm old and gray, can he still be charged with crimes back in the States, or would the statute of limitations apply? They didn't occur in the States, so it wouldn't be appropriate. However, some things may get him in trouble, like the crypto stuff. He's trying to shill a scam coin. And as you guys know, that deals with a lot of international stuff. He's also funneling it through his U.S. accounts, most likely. This is a guess, but most likely he's putting money from the crypto into his U.S. accounts. So you've got potential wire fraud. You've got security stuff if they decide to go on him on the U.S. side. But for a lot of this, it's got to stay in Korea. Moon, welcome as a new member. And also thank you for the 10 guests, Moon. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Very nice. Thank you. Captain Obvious for 1999 says, Andrew, I saw your last stream and loved it, but the thumbnail was traumatizing. I cannot forgive that. So I would like to announce that I'm secretly a wizard and your punishment. I cast extremely slow internet. No, slow internet. Hold on. Slow internet.
No. Wait.
I also want to point stuff out. This is actually good. When Cat Game says, I can imagine, he says he's going to piss on the statue and do it tomorrow or something like that, cooked in jail a long time. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. He is melting down. And this is why, because he knows he's screwed. This is the answer. We have the answer. He's at a point where he's like, I've got to get this attention and clout because he's addicted to it. He can't do without it. And he's not going to get any of it when he's in jail. He's not even going to get, special visits from Hank. Right. So he's going to be really starved for that attention when he's behind bars. And, he's got to act out now. So I only expect him to get more crazy. Even the next 2 weeks, I expect him to get really crazy. Now, that said, I don't plan to cover everything because obviously I'm focusing on the legal side, right? So him being crazy and saying crazy stuff, I frankly don't cover most of the stuff he says because he says crazy stuff that's unbelievable every single day. He says he loves the CCP and says he loves MAGA and says he's George Floyd and also says he's a freedom of speech advocate. He also says he's going to censor people. So he'll say whatever he wants to say at any point to make a point. So I don't put much stock in what he says. I do put much stock in what the police do and what the Korean side does, because the people we need to respect here and pay attention to are the Koreans. And I put my weight and my stock and my value in the Koreans. I put no value in Ramsey. Ramsey is worthless. He's a speck of dirt, right? What I put weight in is the Republic of Korea and maintaining an order and a stability to the country where they can have a country where people know that they won't come to that country and they can't screw with it and do whatever they want. They can't just act a fool, run around, go on literally a criminal spree, right? Knowingly. Challenging people to call the police, running out and saying, call the police, right? At some point, the country has to call your bluff. At some point, they have to say, "Hey, look, we're calling the line here." Common Writer Decade says, "It's my birth moss. I'm 25. The first Chris Chan getting arrested on my birthday. Now Johnny going to prison. Based. Oh, that's great. That's a Twofer. Solid Gold CEO for £5 says, as he's getting a charge with guaranteed time, does that mean he'll choose prison for the other charges? So he won't be earning money? He doesn't get to choose a sentence. The sentence is picked by the prosecutor, and the judge agrees to that sentence or disagrees to that sentence. So he does not get to choose anything. He has no say in his sentencing. Messane says, wasn't there a video of him with an underage girl in Florida? Yes, but I don't think he was charged for that. So we've watched that video. I don't think he was charged for that, though. It's been too long, I think, since that happened. It probably statute of limitations. I don't know, but we did watch that video. Cat Game says, hello, I want to ask you. Oh, I already got this one before. Jesse says, good morning. Good to see you, Legal Mindset. I'm at work, so I'll catch the full VAD. VAD, take care of yourself. My problem? No problem. No problem. Michael Rua says, Cabbage Boy is like an RPG boss. I think that's all he is, but every charge is a stat debuff. Let's see how that plays out. Oh, yeah. Ramsey did an interview and it's just as bad. He says he'll attack you. Yeah, and once again, that's what I said. I don't care about that stuff. He spent hours and hours talking about me with his fanboys who just once again want to pump him up and make him into something because they want him to continue to do crazy stuff around the world. They want him to continue to break laws. They want him to run around with no consequences. That's what those people want. They want to break crimes. They want to offend people. They want racism, right? They want him to run around calling people all sorts of racial slurs, which he's done in the past week. He called the judge a racial slur, right? He called the bailiff a racial slur. He called the police racial slurs, right? He's been rude to police consistently the past week. And once again, there has to be some lines in the sand somewhere. Sue 69500 says for 510. Thank you in Cherokee language for making my day this morning. You're welcome. You're welcome. I remember going out and hanging out in the Cherokee lands out there in Western North Carolina. Bob for 5 says, let us know more about the mandatory prison time in Cabbage Fields. The wait is driving insane. I got you. I told you already. It's from earlier in the chat. Danny said, the guys that were interviewing. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to them. I mean, once again, it's a bunch of fanboys doing a fan film. So, why would I talk to a bunch of Johnny fanboys? No point. How much money have you made off of Johnny? More than Johnny's made off himself. When Johnny's made off himself. Spartan says, I think he's trying to go for insanity plea. Indeed. Linux says for 5, Dr. Todd Grant even talked about RKI in the last couple of days. Oh, yeah, he's a good topic. Link 219 says, thanks for all the gifts. Love the work here. Thank you so much. Bloomenday says, good morning from California. Very good indeed. Get wrecked, RKI. Good morning. Can you explain the title? He's got mandatory prison. We've got a 5th charge, defects. It's mandatory. So mandatory means there's no option of a fine. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this one more time. I want to make sure you guys completely understand this. So with all of his other crimes, they have the option of giving a fine, right? So see how it says here, shall be punished by imprisonment or a fine not excluding 50 million. So they can choose just to give him a fine. But the problem is he wasn't charged under section 1, 2, it's 3. There's no or. It says shall be punished. Shall, must be punished by imprisonment of not more than 7 years. That means the only option, the judge has no discretion. The judge can't choose to give him a fine. The judge has to choose to give him jail time. That's it. That's the only choice. That's what I mean when I say mandatory prison time. There's mandatory prison means there's no fine. There's no fine. He's been talking about oh, I'm not going to go to prison for even 1 hour, even 1 day. Now, someone mentioned in the chat, is there a minimum? No, there's no minimum. But I can tell you right now, they're not going to give a 1-day prison sentence, okay? The judge is not going to give a 1-day prison sentence. It's not really a thing in Korea, right? You're going to get some time. And mind you, this is for a convicted criminal because he will be convicted on 5 counts. 2 obstruction, 2 Minor Crimes Act, and the deepfake. Right? He's already pled guilty to 3. He's already guilty. He's already effectively a convicted criminal because he's pled guilty to 3. He cannot take those back. So this is why I say he walked into a trap. Lord Farmington, for 1 Legal Mindset membership. Ivan Nightsall said, you said there are 5 charges and 4 moved from the east to west. Has he already pled guilty? No, the west charges he already pled guilty to. So the other charges he pled guilty to, they actually occurred in the West, and they were in separate cases in the West, and they were merged into that case. This one is unique because this one was merged from East to West. There were so the first charge was obstruction of business. That was the first one, the original. Then came Minor Crimes Act. Then came obstruction number 2 and another Minor Crimes Act number 2. The two Minor Crimes Act and the one extra obstruction were merged in, but all of those occurred physically within the Eastern District. This one occurred within the they occurred in the Western District. This one occurred within the Eastern District. It's merged in the West. The West is Hongdae. Let me just say it this way: Hongdae, Mapo, Western District. Let me pull up a map here. I've done this presentation so many times. I've gotten most of this stuff like saved, and I've got a map somewhere I can pull up so you guys can understand this a little bit better. But what this does is it expedites the criminal process. I had thought this was going to take longer. It is not. It is not. Also, Charlie says, how about homeless and Nana, who went to the police station? That could be a 6 charge. It could. There's nothing preventing that. However, that just happened. So my thought is that would take some time. So I'm not saying that won't happen. What I'm saying is if and when that does happen, it will take some time. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it could happen a month from now or 2 months from now. And remember, if he's fighting this case, he's going to be in it for a while. So we can see that one that was pressed against him come up a little bit later. So I hope that answers your questions there, guys. Jopi said they're trying to push it as being something, and saying white people get away with worse. That's insane. If this was a white person, imagine if this was a white person who was using racial slurs in 2025. So imagine this was a white person in Korea using racial slurs, using the exact same language, change nothing but the race. I think it even becomes worse. But once again, I think race is irrelevant here, to be honest. I think race is not at all, doesn't matter at all. Once again, it's your behavior, the crimes you've committed, and the things that have happened over time. But that said, yeah, like it's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant, right? So it's the only thing that's relevant is, hey, it's a foreigner, and we have to put a travel ban on him because otherwise he'd just leave, which is what most foreigners do when they're accused of crimes. They can just leave, just kind of self-deport, right? But that said, it's all bad. It's all a crime. So yeah. So anybody who tries to make this some sort of political thing or race thing or free speech thing, once again, they're coping super hard because they've got nothing and they know Johnny is screwed. And because they know Johnny is screwed, they're trying to find any possible excuse for this guy. Like, these guys are so desperate, they are searching in the gutters for excuses for this guy. Also, thank you, Lord Farmington. I know you sent a bunch of one memberships, so thank you for that. I see you sent a couple, so thank you for sending that as well. Someone's like covering Ricada in April. It's sad at this point. I mean, there's not even much to cover. I'll probably cover it as an afterthought. Cody Trickster said, I'm wishing Mr. Ismail said a Sonichu medallion. Oh no, that'd be too hilarious. Someone could send it to him in jail. That'd be funny. All right, so let me show you the map here so you guys understand. So here is the map. And Johnny and his case are in the red dot. They're in Hongdae. They're in the red dot. He lives in Songpa. That's near Lotte World. That's in the Eastern District, right? Do I have another one? Yeah, here you go. So, and I'll go back because this is more colorful and it's good for the people with, who like me have ADHD, right? So he's over here by the stadium, right over here. That's where he did most of his crimes. That's where his case is going on. This deep fake was supposed to happen in the Eastern District. This East District over here. See Songpa and Gangdong. It was supposed to happen in this district, but they moved it over here to Mapo, which is where Hongdae is. So they moved it from the east to the west. So this was something that got moved districts. All the other cases were also in the west, but they were merged together into a single case. They were consolidated in a single case. So you kind of understand. And each of these districts are different judicial districts. And the thing is, each of these districts can have their own philosophy on how they prosecute things. Some of them can be slower and more meticulous. Some of them can be more aggressive. The Western District is more aggressive. The Eastern District, from what I can tell, appears to be a little bit more slow and methodical. So the Eastern District is letting this through after considering it for a very long time, kind of taking their sweet time, right? So that's how this is played out procedurally. The thing is that like he's, once again, Ramsey has ignored all this procedural stuff. He doesn't care about Korea. He doesn't care about any of this. He also doesn't really care about his case. He thinks it's a joke. He thinks it's a slap on the wrist. His lawyer told him he says his lawyer told him he was going to walk out of there. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And now, of course, you see it won't happen. Kiranane for $14.99 Aussie says, good evening, Andrew from Perth, Western Australia. Thanks for the coverage. Crikey. Thank you. Wise Man Gamer says, you're making all the money Johnny owes to Korea. I know. And he is seething about it. He is so mad. Hagford says, well, all the profits and super chats you made, I just want to ask, what will be the color of your Lamborghini now? No Lambo. No Lambo. I do hope we can do some good. I do hope we can give back to some charity. Obviously, these flights to Korea ain't cheap. They are not cheap. I, of course, as you guys know, live primarily in the Kingdom of Thailand, but I do spend a good amount of time in Korea. I do love Korea, but I've been going quite a lot up there to there, and we're not done. So we have a trial on April 9th. Where he will see these new charges, and we're going to talk about that then. But this is probably going to go on for a while. And if he decides to fight this, if he decides to plead not guilty, we could have another year of trial. Can you imagine that? A year of trial. It's possible. It's fully possible if he decides to fight this. And he is stuck there for a year. Once again, the process can be the punishment. Bellinor for 100 South Swedish krona. Says na 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 hey 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 goodbye South Korea. ToS says my shipmates still on the carrier station in Japan know about him, and they've said they will be looking for him when they pull into port. Well, they're not going to find him. He's been hiding. I mean, especially after he got handled today. I mean, I think he was acting brave because he had some fanboys that were out there fluffing him today. But I mean, you can see the public is not receiving Johnny very well. Super Korean says posing like a tough guy with an airsoft gun is cringe. He is a Lamass bit. Censors suck. I get it. He's not going to do anything, guys. That's why he'll threaten me. He'll say all those crazy stuff, but I don't take him seriously. He's a little scared twerp. He would never do anything to anybody. He has no capacity to do anything. He's the size of a bug, right? Like. Anybody could step on this guy and it's not really, he's not intimidating anybody. All right. No matter what he says. North Gaming is a new member. Anthony says RK is a psyop to distract us from the fact that Pecora bought a
fucking monkey.
Thank you for that, Anthony. Appreciate that. TC said, can't they just take his phone as evidence for working? Sure, they could if they wanted to. Can they go after his illegal funds from the crypto? They could if they want to. Once again, crypto is kind of hard to prosecute. It's a lot of work. So I can understand how they might not do it. Yeah. Lugo says he who represents himself as a fool for a client, but he who has Hank for legal representation better just go to prison right now and save himself from the embarrassment. Well, remember, Hank's legal record is completely losing in American court. Hank has appealed his case, I think about 6 times. He's gone to the Supreme Court of the United States and been denied. Hank is the biggest legal loser out there that you could ever speak of, especially out in the United States. In Korea, the only way he gets anywhere is because people settle with him because he's like an annoying little gnat. They want to go away. That's Hank Yu, Hanjong Yu. Corinthian for 10 says, nice to know he's going to get some time. This should help deter more copycats. Sorry for the poor comment on the previous stream. Thanks for all the work. No, you're all good. You're all good. If I ignore a comment, that's because I've addressed it a lot, or, I've said, hey, I'm not going to get into drama or stuff or stuff that RKI's brought up or make RKI talking points. But I try to get to everyone. Thank you for the $1. Thank you. What did Ramsey do today? He got punched. He indeed did. Too bad Dalgoon wasn't there and couldn't do anything. No, Dalgoon needs to behave because he can't be going around punching everybody all the time. There are, he has facing criminal consequences for it. Now he's probably just gonna have to pay a fine, but if he was to go out there and punch him again, there would be a larger fine. It would not be a small one. Kerbal said, better being late is scalding, the chat is molding. The Dark Scholar says, is it possible he will receive a harsher punishment to show South Korea is done playing with all the awful streaming? Yes, they can set an example of him. That's perfectly legal. Ted Park says, is it correct that prison labor is only 8 hours? They have to check. I don't know how Korea does their prison labor. Octopunch says, could it be the end of the Somali saga? Not yet, because he's got to go through the whole trial. Domi says, hello, glad to catch you again. Cool. Oh my God, so many. Michael is a new member. Welcome. Michelle Murray says, surely the U.S. has rules about what an emergency passport can be used. I bet he lied to the U.S. about why he needed it. No way does the U.S. get involved. He does not have an emergency passport. He actually has his full passport back. You saw his passport in one of his previous streams. It doesn't matter if he has his passport, people. He's under a travel ban. He cannot get a ticket. They will not issue it to him. I don't care what passport he has. I don't care if he goes out and buys a passport from every country in the world and he inherits $1 billion and he buys passports, because in many countries you can just buy a passport, like St. Lucia, etc. Or even in Europe, you have Portugal, some others that have what's called a golden passport or golden visa, where you can just kind of buy a passport, golden investor program, just buy in. The US has their kind of gold card, although that's not instant. But the point is, he could go buy all those things all around the world. He could buy every passport. That does not get him past a travel ban. So the passport stuff is a red herring. So don't get distracted by that. It's like a silly distraction. Chaos Forever says, good morning from Puerto Rico. Hey, good morning. Thanks for the updates and reliable information. Kudos. No problem. Yeah, I try to give accurate information because there's a lot of inaccurate information there. Tank Imperator says, there's one way for him to escape jail time. RKI, what you need to do is run to the French embassy and tell them you wish to join the Legion Étrange. That is your only chance. Or to do as Nux said, stick your finger in the judge's mouth. First donation. Thank you, Tank Imperator. Yes, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Big Buddha says, if he fights the charges, as Nux says, endless content jitsu. Exactly. And he wonders why people make content about it, and he sees about it, but he's doing this to himself. Robert Penny for 10 Aussie says, if you had a magic wand that only determines his court outcome, not real stuff like turning him into a cabbage, what would you personally pick? If you deny the wand, the magic is to be used to free him. No, I'd definitely put him in jail for sure. I mean, he's getting jail time. Like, absolutely. If it's up to me, I give him the maximum. I give him 17 years. Once again, he's shown he has no respect for the system. 17 years. That's if I could do it. Once again, that's me personally. But, will that be what they do? Probably not, right? But that's a magic wand that does anything, right? Okay, maximum 17. We need to set an example. And watch, no other nuisance streamers are going to cause a problem after that, right? Nobody. It's going to be real quiet. So like Danny asked, will Danino get charged? He hasn't done anything. He's been quiet. He's just run his mouth, which is fine. But ICE has largely not done much. I mean, he's broke some illegal online gambling laws, but they're like, all right, whatever. I mean, the police are like, look, we got our hands full with Somali, right? Which once again, it's serious to break the laws, but by and large, been relatively behaving. The people that were committing the crime the other day were Chicken Andy and that other guy, Usat. They were fighting in Jeju. I think I played that video, and I actually got in trouble for that video. That video got that stream got yellow. We lost part monetization for that. But that said, that's what those guys are doing. Dano says for 10, hope these donations help your billable hours. It's appreciation for the work involved. Also, just more money for Johnny. Seething. Any idea of fighting charges, whether he'll serve time while disputing? No, if he fights the charges, it's highly likely he stays out of jail unless he does something crazy and escalates. If he starts escalating this, they may detain him while he's waiting for the verdict. So it depends on what he does. Mr. Seeker for 11 says, we know that the 5 that he's been charged with, what other charges are still on the roll that we can expect to see? That's a whole nother episode. If I do that, we're here for another hour. I've done it before. We've got multiple deepfakes, by the way, so they could either bring another charge or they could just make it under the habitual creation of deepfakes, which would be number 4. If they brought it under number 4, then he gets 10.5 years for this. up to 10.5 instead of 7, which is even more serious. Potato Radio said for 10, in Asia, for a case like this, are there incentives to try hard as a public case or social or professional incentives on a public defender to be pushing too hard? There is now a social incentive to punish him because he has challenged the system openly and he has said it ain't shit. So there's now a social pressure of his own design. Phoenix for 20 Canadian says, you what's bad? Being insane to miss this wild ride at self-destruction. He was insane to think he'd get off with a cabbage leaf slap on the wrist and just plain insanity and not pleading guilty. I see what you did there, Phoenix. I'm gonna let you go. But I saw that insanity. And to the insanity plea, I say,
oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
No insanity plea. Mr. Ismail's coping and seething is music to me, and I'm relishing in his anger. And that's really what this has been the last week, is just like his coming to realization. I don't want to use coming to Jesus because that's too good for him, right? That's salvation that is not worthy of Mr. Ishmael there right now. It is him coming to the inside of him internally. He knows he's screwed. He has to act this character and play this character because that's his only role. He can't do anything else the rest of his life. He's pigeonholed into this character he's made for himself. And this is the end of the line for him. And this is the end of his, 15 minutes of fame. And yes, this trial may drag out for the next year, but that's it. That's what you got, buddy. Right? And then you're done. And then after this, you're going to be in obscurity because you're really not going to be able to go anywhere at all without people recognizing you. And, yeah. Kuro Nira for 10 says, I'm half certain he will do something stupid once again. Oh yeah, no, he's going to do something stupid, but whether or not it's noteworthy is who knows. Tian says for Singapore 10, I think the judge may smack him with a higher sentence in lieu of the system needing to deal with all the crimes RKI has been accumulating, but not yet charged with. Is that a thing that may happen? They can still charge him with more, but they could just say, hey, we're going to just charge you with the maximum sentence because this is something that takes the maximum sentence. Yes. Xanowin says, you're famous or people recognize you by your initials, RDJ, JFK, MTG, AOC, and now RKI. That's right. Phoenix says RKI will be like the hawk to a girl in prison. He'll be doing a lot of spitting on that thing. Solid Gold said, sorry, I meant the court's choice. I got you. Peter Butchin says, one like equals 1 year sentence for Johnny. Cabbages, that's right. Like the stream, people. Rebel Courtesan said, thank you for covering this and keeping us informed, hoping his case will start laws against nuisance streamers. Well, I think the deepfake law points out how nuisance streamers can be hit by that pretty severely because what they're doing is they're broadcasting their crimes. So once again, when we go back to this statute and we look at this, the reason why Johnny is screwed here is because he used a information and communications network against the will of the subject of the video. So he created a deep fake that's against the consent. And to be honest, it doesn't even matter that it was sexual. So let me be clear, right? Let me be clear. It doesn't even matter that it was sexual. It was against the consent, right? It was against the consent of the person. The people he's been spamming out deep fakes did not consent to them being distributed. And that's where he's screwed. And he's created this community that is just cranking out deep fakes 24/7. And he's now paying the price for it, right? And he's streaming them, he's publicizing them, he's talking about them, right? And that's where he's absolutely screwing himself. And he's been screwing himself repeatedly because he wants to play this role. Mule Viking says 17 years is what you get for double murder in Norway. What he has done is not 17 years. Andrew, that is crazy. I don't, once again, I think does that reflect on Norway or Korea? I think that I'm going to be honest with you. 17 years for murder for double murder is crazy. A murderer should be away for life. And maybe that is my opinion in my American opinion, but I mean, sorry, I'm not sorry. I don't take a light stance on murder, right? If somebody meets the beyond a reasonable doubt and has a jury trial convicting them of murder, yeah, no, I think they should be away for a little bit longer than 17 years. That's my personal opinion, also my legal opinion, right? Certainly in the US, right? Yeah, that's not crazy. Yeah, trying to say that that's like too long, come on. Because Norway says it is, like, this isn't Norway. And once again, every country can do what they want to do. But yeah. Sorry, I'm not sorry about that. Like, yeah, base lawyer, don't see what's wrong. Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for that. Like, no, sorry, no. I just logged in. Hi from Mexico. What did I miss? Rewind. I'm not repeating myself, but I love you. Appreciate you. Captain Obvious for $9.99 says, would you rather take a roundhouse kick from Chuck Norris or spend a whole day in the room with Johnny? I'll take the roundhouse kick. Chuck will be gentle. Ren Cruz says, when we know where those 2 dislikes are from. Yeah, we all know. Once again, we all know. That's why I just laugh, because it's like, oh, Johnny's paying attention. I'm like, oh, he's watching right now. Hank is watching. Eliza Day says, Norway sucks at punishment. Johnny Mad says that now that feeling is real. Love from Italy. Hey, love you too. Gu Yang for $4.99 says, hey, Ramsey, is RK ever going to learn his lesson? How long have you been practicing law? Can you play coping and seething? You're the best. I will play it at the end. It's the outro. I'll probably, and you know what? If I'll play it in a little bit, there'll be some good stuff to bring to it, but I want to make sure I get through all these. I have now been practicing law for, is it 10 years? About 10 years now, a decade. Which is great. It's kind of crazy. I've changed what I do. I've been in-house. I've done real estate. I've done public finance, all sorts of different types of law. I do a lot of immigration now, primarily. But I also do some corporate stuff privately. So there's a lot of stuff that I do. I've read about, thousands of contracts. But the thing about being a lawyer is you have friends that are lawyers. And in this, a lot of people say, hey, Andrew, you're not a Korean lawyer. No, but I can pick up a phone and call one. I can reference people that know Korean lawyers. I can talk to Korean lawyers, right? I've talked about this. I had an ex-girlfriend that was a Korean lawyer. I know people, right? In the US, criminal defense attorneys, civil attorneys. And that's the cool thing about being social. In fact, fun fact about me, I was the social chair of my bar association. So I am very good with a lot of U.S. attorneys that are in different areas. So it's very funny when people try to pretend you don't know anything, as if you can't just pick up the phone and call somebody who's a specialist in that area. It's very funny. Is he allowed conjugal rights in prison? I don't believe so. MLA for Ochan says, Somali's bet is to leave the country and head over to the DMZ and run to North Korea. If he pulls a Travis King, I think it will not end well for him. Rayobi said you can make an episode on Boondocks on RK. That would be funny. Thomas Smith for 2 says, can he get caning legal? That would be funny, but there's no caning in Korea. Bob says, let us be clear. The more shenanigans he does, the longer he will remain to pay it. The cabbage fields will be the tip of the iceberg. Okay. Cabbage for the cabbage puns. That was actually really good, Bob. That was really good. Damo for 5 Aussies said, I learned a lot about different Asian legal systems from your streams. Big ups, Andrew Legend. Another donation causes Johnny to see emotional damage. I'll give you an emotional damage. We'll drop one. We'll drop one in the chat.
Emotional damage.
And of course, let me be clear. I am not a Thai lawyer, a Korean lawyer, Japanese lawyer, but I've learned a lot speaking to them and speaking to people that know about the law in those countries. And I am a person who loves to learn about the law. I love to talk about it, right? I'm not representing people in that, but they explain the law to me and I explain it to you guys. Danny says, if he does crime every day, can he avoid going to jail? No. Hannah says, as someone who's lived in China, Ramsey wouldn't last an hour here. He would not. In fact, I saw a video of, I think it was I Show Speed. And I Show Speed was like yelling when he saw a KFC. He was like, oh, KFC fried chicken. He was shouting. And he literally got shushed in China. That was hilarious. Ramsey Vile says, mind break tag is justified. Yep. Alex Chung says, first time watching. I hope he goes to prison from Taiwan. Hey, shout out to my Taiwanese watchers. Dick Schneider says, Kimchi Khalid won't let us have a break. Miss Sunshine said, any chance he's thinking if he constantly has charging pending, he'll stay out of prison? No. They will. That's not how it's going to work. No. They're going to probably get him behind bars sooner than later. And that may be why they merged the charges in. Maybe they merged it in to get him behind bars sooner than later. Because, if they keep this moving and he gets behind bars, then, we're good. Nick Cruiser says, it'll be great not to see his antics or face on my X feed. I know. And trust me, guys, I want to cover other topics too. And I will cover other topics. A lot of people said, well, what are you going to cover after? Well, we'll see what's going on at the time. I've covered the Depp versus Heard case. I've covered, a lot of big defamation cases, murder cases, the Sarah Boone trial. We've got a lot of stuff coming up that I can cover, and I'm happy to cover all sorts of different topics. And I know it's not always going to get 12,000 people in the chat, but I'm happy to talk to people, whether it's 1,000 or 5,000 or 12,000 or 30,000. We were talking about the Niji Sanji VTuber contracts. I think we got 30. That was my record. That was a good one. But I'm happy to have all of you here, and you're all welcome. And I hope that you've enjoyed my content. I try to be educational and entertaining, and I also try to stay above the. We make jokes, we have fun. I like memes as much as the next guy, but I do try to stay a little bit above the mudslinging, defamatory level of some of these guys and bottom feeders as well. Glimmer Girl says, thanks for the content. Much appreciated. Jay Montag for $4.99 as a super sticker. Thank you. Joshua Reynolds. So at this point, I don't even think OJ's dream team could get him off the hook. I think he's called himself OJ. I think he actually said that. I'm pretty sure he said that. Lex Ludo said the parallels between Korean trial stage and archaic progress through grief is interesting, isn't it? I know. And he's not hit the acceptance phase yet. Colin says, Andrew, any word on the charges from Lotte World? No, we have no word on the charges from Lotte World. Ike says, RKI says he won't spend a single day in jail. For once in his whole saga, he's right. He'll be spending hundreds of days in jail. Oh, that would be great. Junebug says, would he have to register as a sex offender? I don't know yet. I will have to do more research on that. Silbury says, RKI, you can't go to jail for French kissing. Oh, Ramsey, all the laws are made up. Always have been. Andrew, you need a always have been meme. I did, but it got me in trouble. I'll have to edit this, but I'm going to play it. There's the meme. FTR, thank you for the Polish Zlota. Thank you. Thank you as well. We're beyond well done. RKI is charged smoking. Damo says if he fights, he be out whilst waiting verdict? It's possible. So let me talk about RKI's decisions here. So here's the decision tree he has. He can choose to plead not guilty. If he chooses to plead not guilty, we are in for a very long trial. It could be a year. It could be more than a year because we're going to have witnesses, evidence, right? It could be very long. Now, it could get done in 6 months or 4 months. It's possible, but it could be up a year. It depends. Once again, witnesses might just not show up. Who knows, right? If he decides to plead guilty, we're still going to have some testimony, probably witnesses regarding sentencing and how bad his stuff was. So no matter what, this is not over in April. It could be over in June-ish earliest if he really pled guilty. But I'm thinking even if he pled guilty, September would probably be a fair date for when this might come down. So he might be out that long. Now, when we go to the court, the judge can decide to detain him, but that's going to require an act of the judge. Typically, they don't do that. That would be abnormal. So if they want to keep him behind bars, they're going to need the judge to act on that. We'll see. Also, we just had 100 memberships, 50 and 50 from Harold Chimerson. So I'm going to play the entire, we're going to get 45 seconds of coping and seething for 100 memberships. Thank you so much, Harold.
You are coping and seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping and seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are more than you're coping. Coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Very good stuff. Thank you so much, Harold. You know, Ramsey hates that stuff. Also, just for the record, for Ramsey, I think we're over 400 members now. Yeah, we're over 400 members. So welcome all those 400 members today. That's more than his viewers times 10. Super Korean says RKI said he's worse than Epstein and Diddy. Excuse my poor job. Yeah. Ruby said, I mean, you mentioned the fourth charge before the first trial, and he watched your live stream, came to trial with arrogance and rudeness, only to be shooting himself in the foot. And he's going to do the same thing with the fifth trial. He's going to pretend it doesn't happen. He's going to try to pretend, once again, I showed you guys the actual file. So like, this is not, I'll even show the complete image, right? This is the original image, okay? I'll just show you my full screen here. This is the original image in Korean. Right? So anybody who speaks Korean, not Ramsey because he's like illiterate, but you can verify this is the thing. This says the charge right here. You can read it out. This is the actual file, right? Unlike Ramsey, I actually check my stuff and I actually know what I'm talking about, right? This is the real deal. So Ramsey talks a lot of stuff, but he doesn't ever show any receipts. We got receipts. So, and it's clear as day. There's no like, he can't cope his way out of this. It's done. It's officially done. So yeah, there you go. Asian Wing Sauce says 4 months. Let's go. Insert RKI. I mean, Phoenix says if sent in early June, especially in early June, thanks for the early birthday gift. I know that'd be a great birthday gift, right? Robert de Jesus says, thanks for the coverage. Shout out to Puerto Rico, to Nux Atozi. How infamous is he in South Korea? Not just legal internet. People know him. Students know him. He is known, especially amongst younger people, and they revile him. I mean, once again, you don't get punched in the face randomly on the street if you're loved, right? People aren't doing this because they love Ramsey, right? You know, a lot of times, oh, South Korea loves Ramsey. Yeah, no. Tanner Roberts says, I know there is a minimum, but what is the average sentence she's facing? The thing is, Tanner, it's hard to make predictions because this is unprecedented. So you're comparing apples to oranges. It's not, as you would say, apples to apples. I'm not comparing the same thing. So I give a guess of, at least a year, 2 years, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. But I don't know. I really don't know. If they gave him 10, I wouldn't be like, well, okay, there you go. They're making an example of him. They give him 5. Oh, that's great. They give him 3. That's great as well. I will be happy with jail time, which it seems like I'm getting. I mean, it's like my birthday today. Ben Mendoza for 100 Norwegian krona says Norway has a very particular view of sentencing. Our legal system has an overwhelming focus on rehabilitation over punishment. Last I looked, our max possible sentence, no matter the crime, is 21 years. Look, I'm not here to tell you your country is wrong, but your judicial philosophy is based on what you feel is the goal. I just say, as a personal belief, I don't think a double murderer is rehabilitated, even under the theory of rehabilitation, which means making that person a better person. I don't think 17 years is enough to rehabilitate that person who committed a double murder, right? Not single murder. We're talking double. This is like the double quarter pounder of murders, right? I'm just saying, right? And in a system where, once again, this isn't like a kangaroo court. This isn't some sort of like corrupt conviction. This is something where you've gotten a lot of due process. And you've been able to appeal it, right? Ryobi says, was a deepfake charge merged through the multiple accounts of him harassing Xena others? We don't know. I can speculate on why it was merged. I think it was merged for a couple of reasons. Number one, because he's been acting out recently. I think they may have taken that into account. Number two, because I think they may want to get him behind the bar sooner. And number three, it is cleaner procedurally. It's cleaner procedurally to have it all in one case. So I can see any of those being the reason. Peter Butchins for 5 says, is it because the new deepfake law? It's not that new. It's 2020. It's been out for 5 years in Korea. So they do different to set a precedent, especially for Johnny Somali. It's not that new. 5 years is not that new. He knew this was illegal when he was there. He was doing it knowing it was illegal. And he's been doing it. And by the way, Johnny has known about the deepfake laws for a while. He's known about them for a good while. And he's decided to go out there and create deepfakes. He's created other deepfakes of other people, etc. Right? So he's been out there creating deepfakes like crazy, which is probably why the police have now skimmed his Discord for all those deepfakes and saved those and archived those, which is funny. Darko Pendragon says 2 years of watching, first sub, always good shows. Cool. Adam Graville says RK possibly getting mandatory time. Better have those cabbages ready. He can at least solve world hunger. Pirate Skeleton says RK, if I annoy him enough, they'll finally kick me out. Koreans, he doesn't just stop. At this rate, we'll have to lock him up forever. Just joins. What's the fifth charge? Deepfakes. It's deepfakes. And it's a serious category of deepfakes. Galby says, imagine if Ramsey came to Singapore instead of South Korea, he wouldn't last a day. Hello from Singapore. Hello from Singapore. I love Singapore. Great place. Wojo says, I'm sure more cabbage puns will turnip. Thank you for the 2001. RKI will get punches indefinitely instead of money. Looks like it. Looks like it. There are streamers in U.S. prisons too, exactly. And once again, to the extent they do crimes, they should do the time. Minnie Maria says, Somali made it was Ben. Now he has to sleep in it. Agree. Was that Bulbeju? We won what? Sorry, I can't translate well, but thank you. Kamsahamnida. Marshall Jed Cooper said, hi, Johnny. Thanks for the content. Like and subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe. Torek Roma says, bet 2 USD that he'll have 10 charges by the end. It's possible. Max says, oi, we got 4.4 people watching and 372 likes. Let's fix the algo. Actually, we have 10.5 and we only have 4.6 likes. So let's get that up. Spider Bro says the ultimate crash out, so we call it the Somali Award, the Ramsey Award. I like the Ramsey Award because he hates it more. Hailstorm says, will Ramsey's lawyer receive discrimination for being assigned to him? Also, update on donating to South Korea. I will have a stream dedicated to donations. That will be in the future. So I will bring that up. Luca says, hey, Johnny, put a quarter up your ear because you played yourself. Sue says, what's the chow in prison like? We're talking about very plain Korean food. So we're talking about like bland kimchi, like tasteless bulgogi, like very bland food. Marcin Wozak says, imagine this, Hanky Poo touching hands with Ramsey through the visitation plexiglass, both crying tenderly. Netflix special. Oh, that's just cute. Big Lord Gary says, I don't know what Johnny was thinking streaming as he basically gave evidence against himself. He basically told on himself. Andres for 500 Argentina. Gracias. Says, now is he in jail for good or like an hour like last time? What if we send him to CCOT in El Salvador? He's not in jail yet. He will go there after the trial is over. He pleads guilty or he loses and gets a guilty plea. Once again, they have a 98% conviction rate. He is not in jail, so he can commit more crimes. He can commit more crimes. He has the capacity today, right now, to do more illegal stuff. Absolutely. Cryosite Sioneko says, caught up at 2x speed, regular voices, whiplash. Diestick says, got my money from on 18 months jail time on charge 5, max fines and all other charges totaling 151. That'd be fine. That'd be fine. At least he gets jail time. Virgos for 10 legal mindset memberships. Thank you. Osan for 5 says, let's learn about sentencing from countries that'll release others in less than a decade. That's a good joke. No, I think that, look, if he's sentenced under a decade, remember, he's got to serve all of it. There's no time off for good behavior in Korea. So he's got to serve all of that sentence. He can't get out of that. And I'm going to say this once again, because I know people are going to misquote it. He'll either be, they'll either suggest 7 or they can suggest up to 10.5, because half of 7 is 3.5. So 3.5 plus 7, because he habitually committed the crime. He made deep fakes of several people, so they can charge him with this one. And this is a new element as of May 19th, 2020. So it's new, but it's 5 years old. So to me, 5 years old is not that new. Brian Gibson says, those Mr. Streams, happy to catch it. Or is it Supreme? It's live. We're live. Any chance Singapore-style caning? Nope. But I've seen the canings. Jay Falcon says, I heard he tries to blame his action on autism, mental illness. As someone with autism, I hope they throw the book at him. Yeah, he also tries to use being black as an excuse, being MAGA as an excuse, being George Floyd as an excuse. He'll use any excuse he can, which is why you can't believe a word out of his mouth, and I don't. Dalton says, please keep the clip of RK getting his bell rung to use during streams. There's something oh so satisfying. Oh, it's saved. Don't worry. Are there differences between the district? East is more strict than West? Yes. I think the East is a little bit more lax, and I think they're slower than the West. Sorry if you answer this. Is he going to get off on good behavior? Not possible. Zat said, does the merger of his charges change his court date? Nope. It's still April 9th. April 9th is still the date. 201 Studio for 5 said, Japan and Korea are incredibly nice to foreigners. Justice is needed, so that doesn't change. I agree. Kurata Wakiru for 5 says, let's say he got put in the cabbage farm or other labor job. What would happen if he got caught sabotaging the job as a retaliation? They wouldn't count it, and he would have to keep working or whatever, stay in there longer. Jallian for 5 says he doesn't need to go to prison. He needs to go to the dog pound. Oof. Will Stuttering John return to the Dabbleverse? I don't care, but thank you for the super chat. Potato Radio says Utah police used to convicted double murder instead of using paper targets. Wait, what? Oh, I get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard Archer and Do-Right where he was begging Marco Rubio to get him free. The embassy is not going to help him, guys. Don't worry. Go Josh for 5 says, RKI is something similar to your ex-Korean girlfriend and Hank. Yeah, I know. That's very true. That's very true. He's got the exact same thing. Mine is a little better looking. Just going to put it out there. Jopey1992 says for 50, jury does not work the same in Nordics as it works in the US. It's very, very different how the court proceedings work. You know what? I might have to educate myself on that. And I'm willing to learn about that because I don't know much about the Nordic system. So all I know is, someone told me about Norway and they have light sentencing, right? For double murder, that's pretty light. That's what I know. But I'm happy to learn. If you guys have any educational stuff you want to send me, send it over. Ian Fenn says Johnny Somali antics tend to recommend against birthright citizenship. Oof. Kettlefire Charmer Hilta says when the April 9th trial arrives, will the judge start adding multiple contempt of court? They could if they wanted to. So if he comes in there with an attitude, if he comes there late, if he comes there doing all sorts of crazy stuff, they could. Asian Dragon says, Mom and Trill were excited to see you were there on Saturday. Yeah, it was awesome. They're great. And I do hope I can help them. Perhaps I can help them attend one of the future hearings. I'm going to talk to them more about that. Insane Halcal for 5 says, RK watches Legal Mindset to understand what's happening when legally, then downvotes because he thinks that will dismiss his legal problems. Yes. Him saying mean things about me is not going to make his problems go away. And that's the ultimate thing about all these folks. And the reason why I don't give my haters much credence, because they can say whatever they want about me, right? They can say the craziest shit they want to say about me, which they already have. They all have, all the nuisance streamers, because they don't like that I'm exposing them and they don't like that they're suffering real consequences, which I'm reporting on. They don't like that. They hate it. And they hate that they're being called out. They don't like that. And they don't like that they effectively can't touch me, right? But I'm going to still do it, right? And I'm not going to be intimidated by somebody against reporting on what they have, right? So, RKI can say whatever he wants to say. It literally doesn't matter. I'm not going to stop reporting on this guy, right? He can go as crazy as he wants to go. Doesn't matter. I don't really put any value in him because he's nothing but a common criminal, a petty criminal, and an international criminal, and soon a petty international sexual criminal after he's convicted guilty. He's not yet, but is either he pleads guilty or he's convicted. He'll be an international sexual criminal. And that will be a factual statement after that conviction. Repton says, RKI Barbie song, I'm a cabbage boy in a cabbage world. All day working on my knees. Yeah. Pirate Skeleton says, wouldn't surprise me if the new charges were conveniently not made official until after he had pled and made himself a first-time offender. That could be it. Hackfish also said, shout out to Mom and Trill. They're eating tomahawk steaks. Awesome. Also, to Straight Fish Ping Tuber with 19K subs who learned about Hank. Cool. Yeah. Shout out to all the small creators. I love my small creators. I appreciate all of them. Thank you. Also, Andres with 50 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that. Yes. That is over. I think we have over 500 memberships now. Once again, more than the real viewers of Somali. A. Thompson says, is he out on bail? How much bail? There's no bail in Korea. You're either detained or you're not. And they don't detain people unless it's violence or drugs. So he's out. But still, he's going to see some prison time. TLC Boss has discovered RKO because of Stephanie Sue. Isn't that Rotten Mango? Isn't that the real name of Rotten Mango? I don't know. I think so, right? Happy I found your channel because I'm quite upset that it's occupying brain space. It's really bad. It's a really bad topic. I love your coverage, Legal. Okay, I'm banning you from the chat. Call me Legal. Nicholas DeFotati says, people going through trial wasting their breath on someone commenting about them instead of focusing on trials, just showing how misguided their priorities. Exactly. He should be arguing the law. He should be out there talking to his attorney. He should be out there fighting the legal fight, right? Like fighting people on the internet that are commenting on you and trying to be mean to them is not going to win you your case, right? It's crazy. And the amount of rent-free space I occupy in Archive's head is insane. QB says, imagine if Archive becomes an international embarrassment, then threatening to export him and make him another country's problem becomes legal negotiating tactic. They wouldn't take him. They just ban him at the border. But that would be funny. Karl Heinz Grabowski for 5 euro. Says, Grüß Gott, Andrew. I've mentioned that the South Korean law system reminds me of Germany, Deutschland. Did some research in South Korean laws based on German law. Really? Act. Yes, actually, I did hear that as well. That it's actually closer to Germany than to US, which is interesting. Thai coffee for 10. Sip. Kokun Kap. I had my flat white today at, where'd I have it at? Terminal 21, I think. Yeah. And my Thai people know where Terminal 21 is. You know what's up. Mercenary X21 for 5 says, did you see the Korean tourists that pulled Johnny at the shrine of Tsushima? I sent you the link. They banned all tourists. Yeah, no, I've seen that. It's very sad. Very sad. Pirate Skeleton says for 5, is there a hard limit to how much a Korean sentence can be extended due to bad behavior? Also, if new charges stack, yeah, they keep stacking. So if he wants to keep stacking, but typically the punishment, they kind of put them together and they say, okay, well, this is the total we're recommending. Uter for 50K Indonesian rupiah says, will the new case make his earlier case have harsher? Yes. That is exactly what will happen. Saint, as a new member, thank you. Maggie says, love your channel. Keep giving Ramsey emotional damage. I will. Regina says, so he's in jail right now? No, Regina. He is not in jail now. He is free. He is at Hank's apartment. He is free. What I am saying is the title mandatory prison is at trial. After he is fully found guilty on all charges, after he's guilty, the deep fake charge carries a mandatory prison time. There's no fine. So he will go to prison, not jail, prison after that, right? So he still has time to get milked for laughs and additional crimes. Oh, yeah. I saw all that stuff. Yeah, Asian Dragons is trying to defame me, saying we're best buds. Yeah, I'm best buds who he can talk shit about 24/7 and live rent-free in his head. Yeah, that's hilarious. He says whatever. He said, look, the same thing with Ice Poseidon. He's like, oh, we're best buds and working together. Like, and then he hates him and then he loves him. Johnny says whatever he can say. Once again, nobody puts any stock in anything Johnny says. I don't even address it. Do you see me addressing it? I answer some of the super chats, but I don't even bring it up myself because it's so stupid. It's not even worth bringing up. And it's not even worth you guys telling me all the stupid stuff he says, because first of all, I know what he says. I know everything he says. And second of all, it's like, yeah, he said something stupid. It's a day that ends in Y, right? If Johnny is awake and breathing and on camera, he's stupid. But the thing is that's true about Johnny, which is the more fucked up part, is in reality, he actually has a certain level of intelligence and he can project that intelligence. He kind of knows what he's doing. And that makes it worse because he does what he does intentionally and maliciously, using these as tactics to try to get off. It would be different if he had truly, genuinely diminished capacity. If he was truly mentally challenged, he's not. There are some other nuisance streamers that you can see that kind of are. Like if you look at, for example, by comparison, World of T-shirts. Right, we've covered World of T-shirts on this channel. Like, I mean, looking at him, I'm like, yeah, that's a situation where there's some capacity issues, right? Like, this is not a capacity issue. He actually knows what he is doing and does it intentionally. That's what makes RKI worse. That's what makes it way worse than everybody else. If this was a genuinely like mentally challenged person that had some mental deficiency, it would be a much more sympathetic thing. But that's not the case at all. Right. Phoenix says RKI is a Boondocks character running into the booty warrior. Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Call me Joe says hi from South Africa. You may have interested this, but can he hide? Nope. They're not going to let him hide in the embassy. Not at all. And you guys can contact the embassy and tell them not to have anything to do with Johnny. So if you want to contact the embassy and tell them do not help Johnny Somali, this is the embassy right here. Let me pull it up. You can say, hey, I'm an American citizen. This is the U.S. consulate in the Republic of Korea at 188 Sojongdero, Jongno District, Seoul, South Korea. You can go right here, call this number, or send an email to them, right? And you can say, hey, I don't want you to have anything to do. It's +82-2397-4114. You can say, hey, I'm an American citizen. I don't want you to have anything to do with Ramsey Khalid Ismail, right? And give his full name, Ramsey Khalid Ismail, not Johnny Somali, right? RKI. That's why I say it, Ramsey Khalid Ismail. And say, I don't want you to do anything to do with this. I'm a citizen. Don't help this guy. Highs for 20. Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Bad News Badger says at least legally minded. Now feels a little bit better. I'll take any nickname. Ninja Investo says, have Johnny and Hank made up? Apparently Hank was having a surgery, a tonsil surgery. He's probably working those tonsils really hard. So apparently he had a surgery, so he wasn't home, but he'll be back to to take care of Johnny's tears soon enough. Lex Loot Ho says Johnny has a Backpfeifengesicht. I don't know. I forgot what a Backpfeifengesicht is. But hey, thank you. Danke. 200 Watt Studio says, did Johnny have a father in his life? I think his father now has said like he regrets like Johnny, but I don't want to go down there. I don't like getting people's family involved or whatever, but I do think somebody had said like his parents have effectively disowned him, but I don't know. And it's illegally irrelevant. So yeah, I'm kind of leaving them out of it. Final Fantasy Steve says Somali Odiga suffer mandatory prison time. Random Squirrel says, is it true that Ramsey's family disowned him? Oh, well, there's the same question. Somebody said that, but I'm not sure whether it's true. So let me just say, I don't know it's true, right? And frankly, it's irrelevant legally to me. So I don't really care either way. Onyx says for 2 Singapore, global raid boss, Johnny Somali, pick your fighter. Gary Lee says other streamers are careful now. Thanks, RKI. Taikon Eke for 25 Hong Kong says if there was a deepfake case with SNU last year where 2 defendants were sentenced to 4 and 10 years, RKI is going to get crucified. And he has multiple. He has a Discord that has been churning them out and sharing them like nobody's business. So yeah, there's some problems there. Mark Egan for 199 says, could RKI be acting crazy in the hope they'll lock him up? That way he thinks he'll save some money, some cash, and get time served. There's no time served in Korea. So no, that's not going to work. Ryobi says for $13.99, at least with his interview, we know he's negligible for insanity. Yeah, no, he's just dumb. Once again, anytime you hear him speak, he's going to say dumb stuff. Anytime. Ryobi says for fifth charge, for $6.99. Fifth charge could get Ramsey and other nuisance streamers in jail potentially for 10 plus years. Could get a Juniper clip. Okay, I'll get you the Juniper clip. VTuber Juniper clip of yes. Hold on, I've got that for you. Here we go.
Yes.
There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Cleodra Silvestri says for 5 Canadian, does Korea have a Disney-like fast pass system for nuisance streamers? They will after they're done with Johnny. I think after Johnny, they're going to avoid Korea. And I think a lot of them are being very scared in Korea right now. They're essentially hiding inside because they're afraid of what's happening in Korea. And they're not doing the normal stuff they would be doing on the same level because of that. I think they may stay away from Asia. In general, I think they got pretty strongly dealt with in Japan as well. 21 Studio says pig and cabbage tossing salad. Yeah. Karl Heinz Grabowski for 2 says Ramsey is aiming at a high score in jail time for sure. Law IR 2B says covering universal updates. Screw the mouse. I may. Yeah, for sure. Celery says the MAGA hat hoping he gets bailed out like the Tates. He ain't getting bailed out. Marshall Jed Cooper said Hank can't get into deep shit with Johnny locked up. It's true. Law IR says not bringing weed into Russia after the NBA player. Luke TW said, can a court charge him with perjury or the equivalent for lying and coming to a student? Yes, that could be contempt of court. We'll see whether they think that's big enough. With everything that Johnny has done, he is so bad that the least bad thing he did was lying to the judge, if you can believe that, right? Like he's told off the judge. He said, F you. He's made fun of their accents. Like, I mean, lying to the judge is bad, and that's contempt of court. But you know, you could say, okay, I'm a student of life, or I'm always studying, or I'm independently studying, whatever, right? You can declare yourself a student and like pretend it's for some other reason, right? But like he's done some really genuinely racist things over the last week regarding the court and the police. Anthony says Daogun's punishment should be community service. Punishing Archive when he acts up. That'd be awesome, but that won't be it. They are trying to punish, vigilantes a little bit, so the law system, gets kicked in. But once again, I back up Daogun, right? Insane Hal Cowl says, I just realized Archive is only 24 years old with a max sentence of 17 years. He'd basically be spending half of his life in prison. Now that is insane. Once again, FAFO. Napoleon Johnamite says 1,000 years in dungeon for Johnny. Mr. Zolbar is a new member. Welcome. Dreamcatcher says actions meet consequences. There we go. Cedric says no bail for Johnny. Yatta. Keita says at this point, you're not only living rent free in his head, but taking the space of a penthouse in his head. Keep doing the good work. I know it's great. I am like the number one thing in this kid's head, and it is lovely. Asian Dragon says true. I try to relax and think outside the book. Exactly. 201 Studio says he effed up when he fights the charges. He'll go broke if he fights legal costs. If he has a paid attorney, it's going to get very expensive. Pilot Girl said already emailed the embassy not to help RKI. Thank you so much. Really great one there. Kathy Swamp Queen says Johnny Somali RKI tell for lying, mouth is moving. Benjamin Lloyd for Ochan says I see Somali's office tell from my apartment. Can I legally disclose? No, you cannot. If you dox, I don't care if you've been a good supporter, I will ban you. Doxing is not allowed on YouTube. It's against the TOS. Do not do it. I don't support it. Even Ramsey and Hank, right? Doesn't matter. No doxing in the chat. It's a TOS thing. Don't do it. You'll get banned. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Danielle will ban you. JP will ban you. No doxing, right? Once again, you have to be better than these people, right? Don't get down in the mud with them. INJR for 5 says you talked about harsher punishment for people with a record and a potential strategy being used. What does it actually look like time-wise? Well, they've expedited it now. So now instead of something that was dragged out over a year, it's probably dragged out over the next 4 to 8 months, right? So now instead of something that could go for, very, very long, now we maybe have something that's a little quicker. So I can't give you exact dates. That's a lot of court discretion. There's a lot of witnesses that come in to play, but it's something quicker relatively. And I'm sorry, guys, the Korean process is not straightforward. And I'm giving you the reason why we do these streams. The reason why I have to do these streams regularly is because shit changes. And that is my legal conclusion. Stuff changes in this regularly. And it matters because the procedure and the timing changes. That's why I have to give you these updates like this. And I can't give you the answer ahead of time. If I could, I would. I don't. I can't. That's just how the Korean system operates. I can't change that system. And I'm not trying to change that system. I'm just trying to tell you what I know and share that with you, which today has been the biggest bombshell possibly since his arrest. This is the biggest piece of the puzzle. Upu999 says, hey, legal mindset, just dropping some pennies. Love from the RSA. Hey, appreciate you. Captain Obvious says, what are the odds of someone petition to ask the U.S. government to revoke his citizenship? They can't do that, but they can revoke his passport. And that is fine. You can advocate for them to revoke his passport. You can do that. Asian Dragon says, in your lawyer passion, what is the embassy job since nuisance streamer here in the chat that I thought embassy protects American citizen? The embassy is here to facilitate relations between the countries. That is not to necessarily protect American citizens abroad. It's kind of incumbent on yourself to do that. And you need to be the one who's looking out for your protection. And technically, the U.S. can't protect you abroad. They don't have any sovereign power in South Korea or any other country. That is up to that country. So if you're in, let's say, South Korea, the Korean police are there to protect you. If you have a problem, you call Korean police. That is not the sovereign power of America to be the world's policeman. I know that some people have viewed it that way, but that's not how it works. Shira B says a judge saw the videos in the trial. He hasn't, but he will. Casual says Cabbage Patch. Oh yeah. Wing of Shoe says, as a U.S. embassy question, does any U.S. citizen have amendment rights while in the embassy, like freedom of speech? More curious than anything. I mean, yes, you have freedom of speech, but it's not unlimited, right? Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of action or freedom of consequence. If you were to go into the embassy and yell fire, you could get in trouble for that. Or if you were to say, talk about there being a terrorist in the embassy and you're yelling about terrorism in the embassy, you can get in trouble for that. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. And that's the biggest thing that the fanboys don't understand. They are trying to paint him as some freedom of speech person because they want him to not have any consequences. That's because they're his fanboys, right? And they want to see him fail. And most of his fanboys are actually probably trying to get him really hurt, if not killed. So it's really a sick thing. And it's this sick IRL streaming fetish that has really got people wrapped up into this, that wants to see Johnny. I think they want to see him hurting in jail. And I think they kind of enjoy that. And they're just going to move on to the next one afterwards, which is why, it's not just about Johnny. It's about nuisance streaming kind of at large. Phoenix Diaz says, forget solitary. South Korean prisons need oubliettes back in South. I don't know what an oubliette is. Experience for one. Thank you. Eric says, do they have harboring a fugitive law? Most countries do. So yeah, is Hank an accomplice? Not right now. When he is, I'll let you know. Why do some people make excuses? There's a lot of reasons. A lot of them are mentally challenged. They have low IQs. A lot of them are children. Some of them may have been hit in the head when they're kids. Some of them are very antisocial people. They're very hostile, aggressive people. Some of them have like they enjoy stuff like, you know, they're into very dark stuff. They're into people harming themselves. They also just some people like to be contrarian, right? It's the same people that are like, oh, you know, Stalin wasn't that bad. He was kind of a nice guy, you know, like, let's just go back and justify like, oh, you know, we could, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh no, he's all right. Charlie Manson. Oh, he's a good guy. He paid his taxes, you know? It's the people that want to justify anything. And there's always people like that. And you can't get mad about it. That's just the way it is. I don't try to change their mind because obviously they're fanboys, right? You're not going to be able to change the mind of a fanboy or fangirl. I'll be unisex, right? I'll be unisex. It's the good stuff. Says hello from South Africa. Just want to thank you for all the hard work and your team covering this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Design says Somali has single-handedly done so much damage to the perception of dark-skinned people in those places. For lack of better words, fuck them. Fuck them. He has really harmed the image, especially for African-Americans and of Africans, because he calls himself Somali. So he has damaged the Somali community so much. I would be very concerned when he, you know, just saying the Somali. Yeah. So yeah, for embassies, I believe they can offer asylum and give you a brief on what laws you're aware of. And once you're under authority, once you're under their authority, that's that. Now, I mean, just because they can doesn't mean they will. And there's not a situation where Johnny gets asylum here. This is not happening. But contact the embassy and make sure, you know, it doesn't hurt to contact the embassy and make sure. Rewind the video, go back in my video, pull up when I talk to the embassy. There's an email too. Email them, talk to them, contact that embassy. Vic says, Mabuhay. Thanks for the update. Mabuhay. Shout out to my Filipinos and Filipinas. Does Korea have oubliette? If not, they need one. Oubliette, a hole in which people are put to be forgotten. I did not know that. Silbury said for 5, freedom of speech is a guarantee that the U.S. government won't stop you from speaking. I am not the government. Neither is YouTube or Discord. Exactly. Bad News Badger for 100 says embassies in foreign countries generally only help those with legal matters. If it's bullshit charges or politically motivated, and even then it's not a sure thing. Exactly. And this is not politically motivated. This is done by his own actions. Imagine if the government starts helping actual criminals that are out there doing real crimes. That would be a travesty. And remember, he's already pled guilty. So they'd be helping someone who is a admitted criminal. Think about that. They would be helping someone who is an admitted criminal, helping him evade serving time. He's not pled not guilty. He already pled guilty to 3 charges. He's going to be a convicted criminal on those 3 counts. So it's not like he's saying, oh, this is my freedom of speech. I'm protesting this on freedom of speech. That's not what he's doing. That's not what he did. He said, I'm guilty. Cat Game said, I ask if the time will come when media broadcast it around the world because the news is not popular? This will not be broadcast. Korea does not stream their trials. Only you're going to get it through me. That's it. Sorry. I mean, that's why I'm covering it. Anime Lover Shion says, uneducated behavior trumps rationality. It doesn't in the long run. Any nickname so I can call you Vox Akamo of LawTube. Oh, hell no. I will ban you. Chuck Taylor for $1.99. Thank you. Tuna Wants 3 said RKI is not insane. He's just low IQ. No, he's not dumb. He's not dumb. He just thinks he's smarter than he is. He is not dumb. It's actually dangerous to call him dumb. He's not dumb. He just thinks he's smarter than he is. You might call him a midwit, right? He can read Wikipedia, right? He's smart enough to read Wikipedia, but he's not smart enough to synthesize and understand and really put things together and put 2 + 2 together. He's not dumb. Calling him dumb, and that actually, like Kitty says, it proves willfulness. And that's important to the jury. To the judge, because they can show he's doing this willfully. So this whole when he pretends to be like thoughtful, that actually blows back in his face. Shory Sky says, whoa, did RKI use his police Omnitrax on that? He's been doing a bunch of weird stuff. Mercenary says, oh, God gives John. I hope God gives Johnny his personal judgment. Well, that's for the afterlife. Gamercron says, if RKI got deleted, what would you feel? I don't support that. You cannot talk about that in Mercenary. Don't say that again in the chat because I don't want to even promote that. Johnny, on the meanwhile, has made several death threats about me, but I'm not at all. Don't support that. Don't at all. I know you're a supporter, so I'm going to give you a little like chewing out, but anybody who puts any sort of threats is going to get banned permanently, period. No exceptions. So be very careful with that. That I do not support that at all with anybody, even my worst enemies. I don't wish them physical harm. I don't wish them to be harmed to the point where they're in to the point where they're in chance of dying, right? That's not cool. Yeah, not cool. So yeah, Danielle will ban hammer you. Don't do that. That said, you mess around in some places and that's the consequence, right? So like realistically, if we talk about like you go to certain countries and they're not going to arrest you, there's something's going to happen. We talk about that in the US with a lot of places. If you mess with people, there's self-defense laws. So in the US, you could just be shot and that would just be a self-defense thing because you've messed with someone in a way in which they would have a reasonable fear of their life. So for example, when he was picking on the Korean old man and pushing him, like that guy could have a reasonable fear of his life. He doesn't know what this guy's going to do to him, right? You know, come on. The videos as evidence, it's diplomatic crisis. No, it's not happening. The whole diplomatic angle is not happening. As an American living and teaching his soul, my kids know RK and dislike him immensely. Throw the book at him. He gives him Americans bad name. Look at this. Someone is teaching in Seoul, and he says they know him and they hate him. Boom, there you go. Lou Liao 4 says Johnny's life is over. What do you recommend his last meal is before he goes to prison? Because even before he gets out, he'll have nothing left. I think it's got to be cabbages. Physics Meerkat for 100 Thai baht. Songkran is coming here playing at Water Fight. Yes, I will be here for Songkran. I will be here for Songkran. I am looking forward to that, to Songkran. This is my first Songkran I'll be in Thailand. I've missed it every year. So I will be definitely hanging out in Thailand for Songkran. I'm excited. NZ for 5 says governments help criminals all the time so long as they have billions in the bank account. True. Gamercron says sorry, not going to happen again. No, it's all right. It's all right. I know you're a donator, but let's behave because YouTube, you know, I'm not Johnny. I don't want to get banned off of every platform. Rayobi says, if guys were breaking laws, harassing people, ruining the reputation of my country or my ethnicity, as it says they're above the law because they're from a first world and acting like an idiot, I would be pissed. Yeah, no, I get it. You'd be pissed. And I'd be pissed too. If I'm from a country and people act like they're above the law. If someone came to America, they came to Florida and they said, I'm Chinese, I can do whatever I want. I think they would find out real quick you can't. And Florida man would make that clear. Resilia says Dunning-Kruger effect decides imperfectly. Yes. Sparks said watched him talk, desperately wants out like a mouse in a terrarium. Yeah, he's backed in a corner. And you know, his fanboys fluffing him up are not going to get him anywhere. You know, and he's really desperately trying that right now. He's trying anything and everything, but he knows he's in trouble and he's feeling the consequences. Once again, like I said, for Ramsey, you know, it's coming together very much like this right now. Very much like that. All right. So we have two more. My GWT says, my fear is he's acting so bad he may hurt himself. I hope he does not hurt himself, and I do not encourage that. And he should, you know, if he needs to be locked up or detained for his own good, then maybe he can go to jail and be detained for his own good, you know, before trial, pre-trial. He can also check in. There's actually a hotel in Korea where it's like a prison and you can check yourself in. So he could check himself into that if he needed to. It's good for mental health. Nuna SOF says, what's your favorite cabbage recipe? Is it salty? Yeah, kimchi is great. It's great. I also like sauerkraut. But, you know, it's all good stuff. All right, guys, that's what we got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, an epic number here. Please share this out. I will make a clip of this so you guys are able to understand it a little bit better later. We had so many members today. Thank you for the big gifts today, all you guys who donated. I believe we had almost 500. Actually, we're 10 short of 500 members. So that's a huge amount of new members. Thank you so much for that. It's been amazing, guys. It is a ride for you. And I'm going to have all the updates here. April 9th is still the next trial date. Do not get that twisted. Cat Game said, why is the media around the world won't cover this case? Only YouTuber like Unitozi. No, they're covering it. If you want to look at like the, Korea's covering it, other places are covering it. They just haven't covered it on some places, but even it was on MSNBC. It was on MSNBC. So look at this. I'm just going to show you guys this. The mainstream is covering this. This is MSN, right? Which I don't always agree with. Late and hungover, he pleads guilty. He's arrested again. More bad news in Korea. Face trial over convenience. So mainstream media is covering this, guys. It's not like they're not. They just don't have the details I have. I have more information than they do. So they get their information second or third hand from me, essentially, because I am talking to Koreans. And so the big thing is there's a gap between what gets out in Korea and what gets out in America. And there's certain information that's only in Korean. So it's not easy for the foreign press to access. And also they're not in contact with a team of people, the Somali conviction team, which is my team of people. We call the SCT, the Somali conviction team. They're not in contact with them, right? Like us. So thank you for that. By the way, Harold Chimson getting us to 500. Thank you so much for that. We're now 500 members. Thank you. Very based. Thank you. Yes. For 510. Thank you, JP. And also thanks to the mods like Unhinged Valkyrie said. Thank you to the mods, JP Ravenfire, Danielle, Stellar mods. Also shout out to Don Baca, Professional Gentleman, my other mods. They're also really great as well. Phoenix DS says legal mindsets, the boots on the ground, and the legal goods that the mainstream media wants. Exactly. And that's what I've been doing throughout this. And that's why Johnny hates me. And that's why, guys, and that's why Johnny and all of his little fanboys are coping.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are more than